Beautiful location, Nadal Shiva Sports Complex. Delighted to be joined to my right by a man that really needs no introduction. Former Arsenal, Bournemouth, West Ham, England midfielder. He's rather dapper as well. It's the one and only Jack Wilshere. And Jack, welcome to Dubai.
Thanks, mate.
Got to say, mate, you look physically, you look great. Mentally, I'm sure you've had a little breather. How do you feel at this moment in time?
Physically, I'm good. I've been training quite hard, and I think what's good I've never been in this situation before, but I've used it as a positive, is you can really concentrate on your fitness plus the things technically that you need to improve on, and I've done that, and I felt like I reached a level in England where I needed now to come over somewhere hot, really sharpen up. Helps mentally as well, being in the sun and with the family. We love Dubai, we've been coming for years, so it was a no-brainer really.
How much are you missing the day-to-day, going into the training ground, the feeling of match day on a Saturday? Because you're in your prime, Jack.
Yeah.
Here you are, you're in Dubai, you're putting in the hard yards. Are you missing that buzz on a Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I miss the most is being around the lads, going in, and whatever happened at West Ham happened, but one thing that West Ham I took from West Ham was a group of lads, a great group of lads. I've got some friends that I made there that they're friends for life, and I miss going in, having breakfast with them, being on the training pitch, having banter, laughing at each other, and unfortunately I didn't really get the opportunity to play as much as I wanted. So it's been a long time since I remember that Saturday afternoon feeling. The one I remember recently is just being disappointed and sitting on the bench. So I think it was a good decision to leave and try and find something else, and that is what I'm searching for, that feeling of preparing for a game the night before, the nerves, and going on the pitch and showing everyone what I can do.
What went wrong at West Ham? I say what went wrong. Ultimately, you've hinted at it there. You weren't playing.
Yeah.
You're not enjoying your football. When that happens, what does that do to a proud man like yourself who just wants to play football, and more than that, wants to have a smile on your face?
Well, I think the main reason when I left Arsenal was, one, because Arsene left and I knew I'd play under him, and then after speaking to the new manager, which was Emery at the time, he told me that I weren't in his starting 11, and from that moment I just thought, I'm the type of player who wants to play. It makes me happy playing. I'll be miserable if I'm not. So I had to leave, and I went to West Ham thinking, right, I'm gonna play every week, and I did. And unfortunately, I picked up an injury, and I missed some time. But then I got myself really fit and came back and played a few games, and then I fell out of favour, which I can understand. That can happen. That's football, and it's down to me, the individual, to impress in training. And then obviously the lockdown came, and before we knew it, we had a new manager, and at the time I had a small groin problem which took longer than it should have. It was a simple procedure, and it dragged out. I ended up having the surgery. I had surgery in Qatar, and then when you're injured and a new manager comes in, it's difficult, because all I wanted to do was get in front of the manager, because the manager spoke to me and said, look, I want to get you fit, I know how good you are, but actually getting on the training pitch and showing him what you can do, and showing your character to him as well, it was difficult. And then the lockdown came, and I worked so hard to get fit, and then the last 10 games of the season we was in a relegation battle, and so I knew that I wasn't going to play the first few games, but I thought, okay, I'll get myself fit in training, maybe come on a few times, but that opportunity never came. And then when we finally were safe and we got into pre-season, I thank David Moyes, because he was really honest with me, and we had an honest conversation, and we agreed that it was probably best for me to leave, and we waited to see if there was anything that come up. In the end, it didn't, that I wanted to do, so we reached an agreement. And I couldn't accept the fact that I was going to sit on the bench and not have that opportunity, and he wanted to bring in another midfielder, his own players, which I understood, and now here I am trying to find something, and I'm excited.
Yeah, you are here in Dubai, and I guess there'll be some people watching this that might put two and two together and think, Jack, November, sun shining in Dubai. Is this a part of the world, and listen, there'll be people that will have their views on this, the Premier League to the Arabian Gulf League. I've got my own views. We've seen Manuel Lanzini, Ryan Babel, Ricardo Quaresma. They've all played here, and they've all gone back, and they've had a successful time, whether it be the Premier League in the case of Lanzini, Ricardo Quaresma's gone to Besiktas, Ryan Babel likewise. What do you see for this part of the world in your future, Jack? Could you see yourself playing in the Arabian Gulf League?
Well, I think that first and foremost, the one thing that I've learned through my career is to listen to people around you, but actually everyone else's opinion on
doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter to me. You know, I've had a good time in the Premier League. I love my time there. You know, I've reached the top. I played for my country. I won the FA Cup. Unfortunately, never won the Premier League. Came close my first year at Arsenal, but you know, I'm not saying that I'm done with the Premier League. I mean, I love the Premier League. I'm from England. I grew up watching it, and it was my dream to play in it, and I did. And like you said, I'm new to the Dubai thing because it never really crossed my mind. Because obviously, why would it if I'm playing in England?
Yeah.
But now here I am in this situation, and I've been coming to Dubai for the last 10 years with my family, and we love it here. You know, the people are amazing. They're so kind. I'm sure you know you've lived here for 10 years, and you know I'll be lying if I say I know the league inside out. I've watched a few games. I've obviously trained here at this facility, and it's fantastic. And it is something that definitely interests me. You know, over the last couple of weeks, thinking about it, thinking about the options I have, and as well, like I played with Lanzini. I spoke to him about it. He knows the league well, and he came back he's having a fantastic career in England. You know, he unfortunately picked up an injury and it was quite bad, but he came to England, and I wouldn't look at Dubai as like the end of a career thing. I feel like if I was to come over here, I'd want to give it my all. I'm at a good age where I can give it my all, and I'll try and be successful.
There has been numerous reports. I know Darren Bent's done you no favours in the last 24 hours, saying that Arsenal should have a look at you. I mean, I'll ask you, would that interest you? I mean, is that chapter of your career closed? Obviously, you've referenced the fact that Unai Emery, he perhaps didn't see you fitting in with his way of playing. New manager there now. If Mikel Arteta was to give you a call tomorrow, would you be flying back and shooting straight into the Arsenal training ground?
I spent 17 years of my life, you know, more than half of my life at the club. I know everyone there. I love the people. I love the fans. I wouldn't say that chapter is closed, but I'm realistic. I know that the club's moved on. They've got a new manager. They're trying new things with new players, and they're trying to build a young team. And listen, if Arteta rang me, I'd obviously pick up the phone and
you'd have a chat.
Yeah, I might call in for training, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Rangers is another strange link. I know Ali McCoist, again, we referenced TalkSport, our partners. They have been banging that drum. Ali McCoist's been banging the drum. He thinks that you would be the cherry on top of the icing and top of the cake over in the blue half of Glasgow. Has there been any talks whatsoever with Rangers?
I saw that in the news ages ago, and I thought it was just a report, and it kept going on and on. And I rang my agent and I said, Neil, have you got something to tell me? Like, I'm close to signing apparently, but honestly, there's been no talks. I mean, I played with Gerrard with England. I grew up watching him. He was one of my idols. You know, I loved him as a player, but there's been no talks. So
I can tell you, Jack, they would love you up there. I mean, would it? And I appreciate you've said the door isn't closed to Arsenal. The door's certainly not closed to the Premier League. You're in Dubai, you're open to opportunities here. I'm sure America is another area you probably look at. If Stevie G was to pick up the phone, similar to Mikel a few minutes ago, would Scotland interest you? Would Rangers interest you?
It would interest me because it's Steven Gerrard, and that's no disrespect to Scotland. Or, you know, my granddad married a Scottish woman like 30 years ago, so she's like my nan, and that's all I've known growing up. So again, like it never crossed my mind playing there, but now that Gerrard's there, you know, the door definitely isn't closed, but at the same time, it wouldn't be my first choice.
Fair. You're being honest, and one of the things that you have said, and we've spoken briefly off air and on air now, is the fact that you want to enjoy your football. I get the impression from you that's number one. Forget the noise. I don't need to be playing for clubs that you think I need to be playing for. I want to be playing for clubs that I want to play for. I want to enjoy my football. With that in mind, you must have some sympathy for our former teammate Mesut Ozil. I mean, what he's going through, the fact that he's paid handsomely, that's by the by, but he's not playing football. He's not playing the game that he's paid to do.
Yeah, I think that is why I'm happy with the situation I'm in, because I can decide what's best for me footballing wise. You know, I mean, I've been lucky enough to earn well in my career and play at top clubs, and now I can because I've said before, unless you play at a top club, especially in the Premier League, because I know from experience, where you don't have the ball, it doesn't suit a player like me, and now I want to play for a team who has the ball, and I can be one of the main men in that team. And yeah, with Ozil it's difficult because people just think he gets paid well, but I mean, obviously that helps, and that will soften the blow for him. But you know, when he comes back from training, you know, you normally have that feeling as you approach him match day, am I going to play, am I not going to play, and that keeps you going and keeps you fighting in training, and it'd be difficult for him mentally to accept it.
Can I ask, Jack, when you look in from the outside on this England squad, and Gareth has got a plethora of options, you look at the youngsters that are coming through, Jude Bellingham over in Borussia Dortmund excites me, you look at Declan Rice, a former teammate of yours, you look at Jack Grealish, who was anointed the new Gaza this past week, and I know you've had that tag as well. What is the feeling when you look into that England camp? You look there and think, jeepers, I could still be part of that.
You know what, I don't really feel like that, because my main focus is getting a club where I'm going to play and be happy. And then, of course, I feel like England should be picked on form, and it's down to the individual to get into that squad. But yeah, as you mentioned, you look at, like, it's frightening really to look at their team. You know, you didn't mention Foden, who
there's another
for
one
me
I
is one of, I love watching him. He's brilliant with Grealish, and I think, you know, people will say, it's easy for Southgate, but I think it's a difficult job to fit them all in and get them all playing together. I mean, because even the players who haven't been in the squad recently, your Madisons and people like that, they've got some number 10s who could be like world beaters, and you know, with World Cups coming up, I think it will only be a positive, because each game is different, and when, like, obviously the qualifiers, you see it's easy for England, but when you get to the major tournaments, when the pressure's on, you're playing against the big teams, you know, you can't pick the same players. The game's different every other game, and I mean, I'm excited for the future for England.
Last couple from me, Jack. I've got to ask as well, in terms of your relationship with Arsene Wenger, you've referenced it a little earlier in this interview, that when he left, you felt that, you know, Unai came in and your opportunities were diminished as such. Do you stay in touch with Arsene?
Yeah, I've been speaking. I was speaking with Arsene when I was deciding what to do with West Ham. I had in my head what I wanted to do, but he's always been someone for me that I always listened to, and I wanted to get his opinion. And so yeah, I've been speaking with him recently. I mean, I'm dying for him to get a job so he can bring me with him.
That's very good. And last one from me, Jack Wilshere, the one that I see here and the one that's portrayed in the media. Are you in any way, do you feel misunderstood? I mean, I've spent a bit of time in your company, and I don't know you from Adam. This is the kind of first time that we've met. But the press, have you felt over the years that you've perhaps had, maybe not necessarily a rough ride, but you have been portrayed sometimes, perhaps wrongly?
Yes and no, because, you know, being honest, I didn't help myself when I was younger, and getting caught up in situations where I shouldn't have. But I feel as a young person, then mistakes can happen, and as long as you learn from them, and as well, you can help other young players in a similar situation. I feel like, you know, you won't really see, you know, you had Rooney, me, who started playing at a really young age, 16, and I don't think you'll see that anymore because of the way the game's gone and the demands physically, especially at the top clubs. And when you're at a top club and you're English, and then you break into the national team, the spotlight's on you, and you have to accept that. And I made mistakes. I never ever let them affect me. I always was confident in my ability my footballing ability. But then, of course, the injuries happen, and you know, some people would say, "Oh, you're not living right," but that didn't affect me either, because I knew that I was, and the injuries I had were impact injuries, and I couldn't help them. That was the player I was. I wanted to get on the ball and make things happen. So I think I've got quite a good relationship now with most of the media in England, and yeah, it took time to build them relationships, and I've had falling outs with journalists, and you know, but I feel like now I'm in a position where they do understand me. They know that I love football and I just want to play football, and I've been unlucky in terms of injury, and they've been frustrating and everything, but now I'm in a position where I just want to get back to playing football, and I think that everyone understands that.
Yeah, and the message from you is 28 years of age. I believe you turn 29 on New Year's Day, I
Yes,
think it is.
very soon.
So turning 29, the message is there's a lot more left in the tank for Jack Wilshere.
Yeah, and I just want to show that to everyone. I want to get that feeling back of playing every week, getting the nerves before a game, because it's been a while since I could actually say, yeah, I've really enjoyed my football and I want to get back to enjoying it.
Well, listen, Jack, we wish you the best of luck. I'd love to have you over here in the Arabian Gulf League. When the stadiums do open up, there's no doubt you put bums on seats. Best
Thank
of luck,
you very
my man.
much.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks,
Dubai Eye 103.8.